Welcome everyone to week 4 of the CRL. The fun's just about to start. We have a special week this week. This is squad skirmish. We will have squads of 4. We're going to start with divisional, then go to the conference, and then the finals. We got a special guest right here, Luke Mullen. He's excited to be here. But first up, we have the Northeast Division. We got Isaac, Lane, Drew, and Luke. Now, the lanes are going to be in order of their ranking in the division. So you'll see here, the order will go Drew in lane 1, Isaac in lane 2, Lane in lane 4, and Luke in lane 5. Lane 3 will not be used, but those sides will be utilized. So we got Mike Wazowski versus Magnum versus Geoterra versus Shark, and Mike Wazowski will take the first point for Drew there. Luke is a little unhappy over there. He's looking for a win. He is 1-2 as of now. He's hoping not to be 1-3. He's hoping to get an edge over his division. And Drew's going to take another one with Bottleneck. This is upsetting Luke. Not looking very happy over there. Because it also looked like Mock got stuck up there. His car got stuck around the turn. Interesting, but Luke has the nuke. So he will probably score here. And it looks like he will. Luke will finally get a point. Maybe this will be the turning point for him. He seems very excited about that. Next up, we got Yellow Shy Guy versus AJ Brown versus Pop versus Formula. And Lane's going to take that one with Pop. Pretty reliable car for Lane. Has always kind of delivered there for him. Always been there. We got Shy Guy versus Falcon versus Fizz versus Hammerhead. And Drew will score that. Drew will advance to the semifinals with that. 3 points scored already. That is a good start for Drew. And we will be seeing him in probably about, I'd say 5 minutes. So it's going to be a little bit until we see him again. We have Isaac versus Lane versus Luke in the 3-man race. Down they go. And Magnum will score. Look at that. So yeah, also, we should probably explain how this works. Basically, teams will race in a 4-man race, and then whoever wins will go on, and the winner of the 3-man race will go on to the next round, and they will be met up with another pair of 2 to form another 4-man race. And then eventually, once we get to the end, it's just going to be head-to-head between those 2 people who win, and whoever wins that will be the winner of everything. So looks like Isaac has been pulling ahead here, but Nuke scores another point for Luke. Luke is keeping this alive here. Let's see what will happen. All right, we got AJ Brown versus Pop versus Formula. Will Pop get it again? And it looks like it does. Pop will score again. This is not looking good for Luke. He has one last chance to tie this up with Isaac and have a chance to get a win this week. Also, only the first round counts towards the regular season total. So, looks like Luke's going to be eliminated there. He's going to drop to 1-3. That is not a good record, but, could be worse. He could be 0-4, but this division, you do not want to be last in. We got a tiebreaker here. We got the 2 winners against the other 2 winners, Magnum versus Pop. It's going to be the highest seed versus the highest seed, lowest seed versus the lowest seed. So, obviously, it's based on their starting lineups, but got Toad versus Fizz. Can Isaac take this? And no, Lane will tie it up. So we're going to have these 2 winners up against each other. We're going to have Magnum versus Fizz. So here they are here. That was a stupid way to say it, but down they go. Who will win? And looked like Magnum barely got it. Isaac will be advancing on to the semifinals. We will see him later. So, just to take another little recap here, Isaac and Drew are going on. Lane and Luke are eliminated from this bracket. We will not be seeing them at all this week. That is an early exit for those 2. Next up, we got the Southeast, though. So we're going to have Peyton versus Alex versus Brendan versus Ben Cressman. Obviously, not in that order. We're going to have it in the order of Alex, Ben Cressman, Brendan, and Peyton. So, Alex in lane 1, Ben Cressman in lane 2, Brendan in lane 4, and Peyton in lane 5. Gotta get used to saying that. But first score will go to Brendan with Mohawk. So, good win there for Brendan. That's a good way to start things off here. Next up, we're going to have Clockwork versus Bowser versus Bill versus Velvet, and down they go. I'm going to take Clockwork here. Look at that. Clockwork is one of the fastest cars in the CRL right now. Hasn't lost a race yet, I don't believe, but pretty good for him. We got Fiat versus Blue Shiger versus Mario versus Manta. Now, I don't know what Alex was smoking when he picked Fiat, but he's not going to get the win there. So, Brennan will take another one, and he could pull away quickly here. Luke has no reaction, but he's wearing a Spider-Man hat, which is pretty cool. We got Blitz versus Luigi versus Locust versus Bolt. Bolt was so close, but Ben Cressman's going to start taking points here. Already has as much as Alex. Next up, we got Brunator versus Diddy Kong versus Locomotive versus Renegade, and Diddy will diddle the rest of them, causing a tiebreaker between Ben versus Brendan. Now, this doesn't mean that Alex and Peyton are eliminated. They'll be back for the three-man race, but this dispute is versus Ben and Brendan. So whoever wins this, we will see in the semifinals. But you never know. We could see both of them. We got Luigi versus Mohawk. And Mohawk just easily scores that first one there. Not even a question about it. We got Diddy Kong versus Mario. Who will get it? And Diddy Kong just barely beats Mario there. It's going to be tied again. We're going to have the two go up against each other. We got Mohawk versus Diddy. Will Diddy diddle the diddle diddlers one more time? And he does just that. Ben Cressman will be moving on to the semifinals. We'll see him in a bit. But Brendan could still make it, though, because he still has this three-man race coming up. So let's get into that now. It's going to be Alex, Brendan, and Peyton in that order. So it's going to be a little bit different. We got Alex in lane 2, Brendan in lane 3, and Peyton in lane 4. Down they go. And Mohawk's going to score that one. Mohawk seems to reliably score that first point every time for him. But we got Clockwork versus Bill versus Velvet. Once again, I'm very jealous of his pick with Clockwork because that is just an amazing car there. Caleb did try to trade Cosmic Coupe for Clockwork. We found this out last week. But Alex declined, and he said, as long as we're both winning, I don't really care what happens. So that was his official statement there. But yeah. Sorry, did I say Cosmic Coupe? I meant to say Falcon. He tried trading Falcon. So first round pick there. With that, Brendan is going to advance to the semifinals. So there you have it. That is the Southeast little recap here. Peyton and Alex, they are out of here. But next up in the semifinals is Brendan and Ben. So, the semifinals is going to have Isaac, Drew, Brendan, and Ben. But in the Northwest Divisional, we're having Braden, Caleb, Ben, Roth, and Ermine. It's going to be in the order of Caleb in lane 1, Braden in lane 2, Ben Roth in lane 4, and Ermine in lane 5. We got Cosmic Coupe versus Blaze 2.0 versus Drift versus Han Solo. Very strong group here. And Han Solo will score it for Ermine. That is a positive light there. Probably one of the only light moments for Ermine's entire season so far, actually, because he hasn't won a single game. And if he loses this, well, I don't even know. I'd be in shambles. But it looks like Braden will score one, too. Caleb and Ben are looking to make something happen here. And better happen quick. We got Rex versus Double Shot versus Vampiro versus Crimson. Rex won the finals last year with Drew. And he's going to win this one. He's going to score a point for Caleb. If Ben Roth doesn't score a point here, he is in trouble. Next up is True Blue versus Dragonfly versus Ant versus Gulliver. Now, Ant is probably the worst pick I've ever seen, but True Blue will score the point there. Caleb is taking it away. Braden and Ermine have one last chance to tie it up. Here we got Falcon versus Joker versus Jetstream versus Submersible. And Falcon proves his worth to Caleb. Maybe Caleb shouldn't have tried to trade him after all. But, it never happened. So, Caleb will be advancing to the semifinals. There's True Blue, Falcon, and Rex. As winners there, we'll be seeing them in a bit. But now we got the three-man race. That'll be Braden versus Ben Roth versus Ermine. Let's see what's going to happen here. A lot of good things happening here. Let's see if Han Solo can keep it up for Ermine. And he does. This could be Ermine's time to shine. Maybe Caleb was just blocking him from getting those wins there. But Ben Roth has a very strong contender there. Yep, Ben Roth is going to score with Neon. Very fast car, but is also a little bit top heavy, so don't want to get too much speed. We got Double Shot versus Vampiro versus Crimson, and Vampiro takes the win. He was a finalist, made it to the finals with Landon, couldn't finish the job, though. We got Dragonfly versus Ant versus Gulliver. That's pretty much going to stop Ben Roth from getting a point there. I mean, that's just a liability right there. We got Joker versus Jetstream versus Submersible, and Ermine will tie it up. Looks like he's not going to let Ben Roth get away with it. Braden will be eliminated and will become 2-2. So we got Han Solo versus Neon and Vampira versus Submersible. First up is Neon versus Han Solo. So Han Solo has been pretty good for Ermine, but he couldn't finish the job against Neon. Ben Roth might run away with this here. Vampiro versus Submersible. Two very fast cars. And it looks like Ermine's going to keep it tied up. We got Neon versus Submersible. Let's see what's going to happen here. And Ben Roth will be advancing to the semifinals. Looks like we're going to see him in a little bit there. But next up will be our next division. So just a little recap. Braden and Ermine, get out of here. Caleb and Ben Roth will be getting a win. Caleb will keep his undefeated streak. But it's now time to see if Kian can keep his undefeated streak. These are the only two undefeated teams left in the CRL this season. Both are looking, well, Caleb already got 4-0, but Kian's looking to match that with a 4-0 here. Hopefully getting in first round, but I think he'll take it either way. Any win is better than any loss. So we got Wario versus Black Yoshi versus Porto versus Tsunami. Keen in lane 1, Colin in lane 2, Grant in lane 4 with the win, and Landon in lane 5. Landon has had a rough start. He's looking to turn things around. He's 1-2. Hopefully he doesn't drop the 1-3 because that is a terrible thing to come back. Oh, and he scores. But yeah, like I'm saying, it's going to be hard to come back. You're going to need to do a lot of fighting in the late season. I mean, it's obviously only the 4th week. But still, I'd rather have a good start than a bad start. But looks like, who was that? Looks like it was Grant. Grant's going to score that one. I didn't even notice we had a scoreboard issue, but I mean, I guess it worked out in Grant's favor there. I mean, scoreboard worked out for him. Hopefully we don't have another one of those. Looks like that's going to be Kian. Kian could still bring this back here. I mean, his bottom two in his lineup are pretty good. Now, actually, this is a fun thing. Blanco, this is Blanco's first start this season. He hasn't started in the first 3 weeks at all, and he's going to start on a loss because Kian will tie it up. We're going to get a tiebreaker between Kian and Grant. The winner will go to the semifinals. Loser will go back into the 3-man race. So we will be seeing Colin and Landon, the 3-man race, but we don't know who we'll see yet. We got Lakitu versus Porto. Let's see what they can do. And Porto just speeds right in there. Scoring a point for Grant, then that is very needed because Kian's fastest car, Emu, is right here. We got Emu versus Converse. Converse was on Lane's team for the past 2 seasons. Won a championship with him, and Kian will beat him, though. Looks like we're going to have Emu versus Porto. This is going to be interesting here. The winner will go to the semifinals. Emu versus Porto. And Porto does it. It looks like Grant will be advancing to the semifinals, and Kian will be going back to square one in the 3-man race. So there's Grant, Converse, and Porto back to back right there. And looks like we got our teams again for the 3-man race. We got Kian versus Colin versus Landon. Kian's hoping to make some magic here. You know, get things done. And they're off now. One thing about Kian... Oh, and he scores a point. One thing about Kian is that you don't want to let him score early like that because his bottom of his lineup is very strong. So you want to minimize as many points as possible. Get your 3 points before he can even start to imagine getting points. You just can't let any of those first three win there. Landon's going to score with ace right there. But yeah, you can't let any of those first three win there. That was their mistake. I think Lakitu and Emu might come from behind. We got Cyberpunk versus Frono versus Robot. And another one of Kian's cars scored. This is looking bad for Colin and Landon because Emu might not even come out because Lakitu is here. And we got Lakitu versus Xenon versus Blue Bolt. Xenon was on Colin's team last year too, and he just was able to draft him. But Kian will take it. He doesn't even have to bring out Emu. Kian will advance to the semifinals and keep his perfect record. Not sure what they're doing, Emu in the back, but Grant and Kian will be going on, and Landon and Colin will be incredibly sad. On to the next one. Now we got the Eastern Conference Finals. Second round, we got Drew versus Ben Cressman versus Brendan versus Isaac. I believe that is the order of the lanes, too. Drew in lane 1, Ben Cressman in lane 2, Brendan in lane 3, and Isaac in lane 4. Now, it's not based off of records anymore. It's based off of performance. Whoever did the best gets the furthest to the left. So, down they go. Well, and Mohawk doesn't get it. Looks like Magnum will score the first point there. Not as much luck for Mohawk there. Who knows? We got Bottleneck versus Bowser versus Bill versus Toad. Very strong lineup here. Bottleneck was on Peyton's team last year. And Brendan will score a point there. Interesting. Bill will get the point. That is very unexpected. I was expecting Bottleneck to get the point. But we got Poltergeist versus Blue Shy Guy versus Mario versus Mustang. And it looks like Drew will score the point there. Someone mentioned to me that actually back in the first round that Poltergeist flew and hit Isaac's car, actually. That's interesting. You'd have to go back and look at that. I'm not sure if we have a replay for that, but Isaac will score another point there. Let's see if Drew or Brendan can stop him there. I mean, if Ben Gressman makes it in, Isaac's just getting an automatic bid over there, or if Isaac can get it in. It looked like Brennan was going to get it, but Ben Cressman will score, and Isaac will be going to the finals. We will see him there. There is Magnum and A.J. Brown right there, looking spiffy. So next up, we got the three-man race. We got Drew versus Ben Cressman versus Brennan. Drew in lane 2, Ben Cressman in lane 3, and Brennan in lane 4. And Mohawk will get it this time. No Magnum in the way for Brendan. That is a good start. Considering Bill scored it last time, we got Bottleneck versus Bowser versus Bill. If history repeats itself, Bill will be getting Brendan his second point right here. History does not repeat itself. Brendan needed some of that lane. No, he's still in lane 4, so, I mean, it's not even a different lane. I don't even know what happened there. We got Poltergeist versus Blue Shy Guy versus Mario. And things are just not going Brendan's way right now. Drew just needs one more point to get himself in there. Brendan needs a point here. We got Yellow Shy Guy versus Luigi versus Locust. Ben Cressman gets a point here. Ben Cressman might be trying to tie Drew here. But someone's got to make a move quick, and it's going to happen right here. We got Shy Guy versus Diddy Kong versus Locomotive, and Diddy Kong will diddle Brendan. Goodbye, Brendan. We're going to have a tiebreaker between Drew and Ben Cressman. The winner here is going to go on to the finals. We got Bottleneck versus Luigi and Poltergeist versus that other guy that I can't remember. I believe Diddy Kong. We got Bottleneck versus Luigi, and Bottleneck will get a point in there. Let's see, will Diddy diddle Poltergeist, or will his diddling run out? Will he get sent to the Brooklyn jail? And, yep, go to jail. Do not collect go. Do not collect 200. Do not advance. You have to roll snake eyes. So, Eastern Conference Finals. We got Drew and Isaac moving on. Straight out of the divisional, straight out of the conference, and straight to the finals. See you later, Southeast Conference. Next up, we got Western Conference. We got Caleb, Grant, Kian, and Ben Roth. So Caleb's going to be in lane 1, Grant is going to be in lane 2, Kian in lane 4, and Ben Roth in lane 5. So here we go, we got Cosmic Coop versus Porto versus Wario versus Drift. Porto got it last time, and Porto will get it again. Good first round there for Grant. Always going to get that first point, which is a good little safety net for him. We got Tokyo versus Chrome, or whatever his name is, but whatever. Tokyo will get that point there. It's hard to remember names. It's his name's like Kronos or something. We got Rex versus Converse versus Cyberpunk versus Vampira. And Rex will score it for Caleb. Looked like we had another scoreboard issue there, but worked in our favor again. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. And True Blue will score it, so Caleb is going straight to the finals. Good for him. And it looks like he's going to earn himself a spot in the number 1 lane due to his performance there. I mean, Isaac and Drew did not score 3 points in there. Well, Drew didn't. I think Drew scored 3 points, but I mean, still. Either way, it was in the 3-man, so it doesn't really matter. So Grant, Kean, and Ben Roth going up against each other. Here they go. Ben Roth will score that one. It's interesting. Caleb got that one over that, but even in the one, Caleb didn't win that match. Ben Roth didn't win it either. Someone else won it, which is interesting, which is kind of weird, but Grant will score another one. Let's see if he can keep it moving. Got Wrath versus Lakitu versus Ant. See here. And Kian will keep it going. She's going to keep it moving. We got Compact versus Emu versus Jetstream. And Emu's going to tie it up. This feels way too familiar, but Ben will be eliminated. This is completely exactly same matchups. And if history repeats itself, which it hasn't so far, but it's looking like Grant's going to go on in this time. But we got Porto versus Lakitu. And it's going exactly the way it did last time. Only thing I could see going different here is Grant maybe winning this one. We got Converse versus Emu. Keen brings it back. Now I could see this going differently, though, because Porto barely beat Emu. And I think they're in two different... I think Grant's in the further left lane than Keen, so... And history repeats itself. So Grant will advance to the finals. And there you have it. We will have our finals matchup here. We're going to have, obviously, winning the finals is Caleb and Grant. And Kean and Ben Roth, well, they're just going straight home. So, yeah, next up, we will have our finals. We got Caleb in lane 1, Isaac in lane 2, Drew in lane 4, and Grant in lane 5. So let's see how this is going to go. It's going to be pretty nice. Let's see them now. Here they are. So, scoreboards are ready. Looking pretty spiffy. We got Cosmic Coop versus Magnum versus Mike Wazowski versus Porto. Very good set of teams we have here, actually. All, I'd say, are pretty deserving of making it this far. Grant's going to start it off quick with Porto. Got Tokyo versus Toad versus Balnock versus Chrome. And Tokyo's going to score it. Caleb's getting hot. We got Rex versus Mustang versus Poltergeist versus Converse. Down they go, and Rex will score it. Caleb just needs one more point to earn himself a spot in the finale here. Who will stop him here? We got Grant could stop him. Drew, anyone can stop this here. We got True Blue versus AJ Brown, and it doesn't even matter. Caleb's going straight to the finale. Look at that, he's advancing, and he's earned himself a spot in the finale. Whoever will win this 3-man race will go on to face Caleb in the very end there. It's going to be a traditional race, but we got Isaac, Drew, and Grant. We got Magnum, Mike Wazowski, and Porto. Let's see if Grant can keep this up. This is a good safety net, and he stumbled a second there, but he will still score a point there. Very good for him. Glad to see that. We got Toad versus Bottleneck versus Chrome. Let's see what's going to happen here. And Bottleneck will score for Drew, keeping this up here. Let's see what's going to happen. We got Mustang versus Poltergeist versus Converse. All very good cars. And Poltergeist beats Isaac there. That was on Isaac's team for the past 2 seasons, actually. Isaac drafted him originally in Season 1. And Isaac keeps things alive here. he could tie up with Drew and earn himself a spot here. We got Falcon versus Shy Guy versus Compact. And Drew just drills it in. Drew is going to advance to the finale, and he will be facing Caleb in a head-to-head matchup. So here we go. We got our matchups here. We got Cosmic Coop versus Mike Wazowski, Tokyo versus Bottleneck, Rex versus Poltergeist, True Blue versus Yellow Shy Guy, and Falcon versus Shy Guy. So there they are now. Let's take a look at this amazing scoreboard. Whoever designed it must be really hot and amazing. Cosmic Coop versus Mike Wazowski. Here they go. And Cosmic Coop drills it in, scoring the first point, beating Mike Wazowski there. We got Tokyo versus Bottleneck. And Tokyo gets it there. Could this be a sweep from Caleb? I don't know. Drew doesn't get sweeped often, but I mean, I think it's pretty nice to see for anyone who's in the Northeast Division. And Drew's going to be sweeped, so Caleb is going to win the squad skirmish. And actually, technically, he won about, I think, 4 straight matchups there, so that would technically make him 7-0. So he's on a 7-game winning streak, basically, but, I mean, his record's only 4-0, so we're just going to keep him at 4-0. That's enough glazing. But here's the rankings, and that is all we got for you. If you made it this far, thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your night. See ya.